Good afternoon. My name is Hector Hinojosa. I'm a certified financial planner and the managing partner of Swan DFW. And what we thought we'd do today is kind of talk to you about some of the questions, most often questions that we get about annuities. We know that annuities oftentimes are proposed, and when we do propose them, and we sell a lot of them, you're always seeing them in the best light. So what we thought today is we would just talk about what an annuity is and whether it makes sense to put something in the portfolio. And so we want to talk about whether it makes sense to make an annuity a part of your portfolio. And how we're going to do that is we're going to try to break down some of the more complicated questions that we get. We're going to try to do this in about 10 minutes time. So here's our contact information. If there's something that we say that you have other questions on, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can reach us by email. You can go to our website, idon'twannabepoor.com, and you can leave us a message there and we'll get back to you. But let's start with basic portfolio balancing. This is what we call a 60-40 portfolio. That 60% are in stocks, 40% are in bonds. First off, why do we do that? Well, we do that because we don't want to put all our eggs in one basket. And so what that means is if the stocks have a really good year, then the bonds aren't going to be a very good year, but that's okay because we know, we think, we hope that if the stock market goes down, then the bond market will be good, and then a part of our portfolio will be making money. And so it's in that allocation then that we start looking at where would be and how much would be a good amount of money, if any, to put in an annuity. And sometimes it looks something like this. Maybe 30% or 70, 80% of the bond portfolio gets put in an annuity. We leave the stock portfolio alone, and we'll leave 10% in cash or in very short-term bonds. Because as you'll see in a minute, one of the things we got to protect against is needing money. And if we put all of our money inside of an annuity, it can become a bit of a challenge. So that's the first thing is, are you a good candidate for it? Where does it fit and how much should it be? So the question we have a lot is, can you lose money in an annuity? This comes up a lot because you hear the horror stories. People hear the horror stories. They've heard people that lost money in an annuity, and yet when you're talking to the representative, it's telling you that if you hold on to the annuity for 10 years, the very worst thing that can happen is you'll get your money back, and that there's no way to lose any money. Well, how does that square with somebody who you know who has told you that they've lost a lot of money in an annuity? Usually what happens when somebody's lost a lot of money is that they did not fully understand a thing called a surrender charge or surrender charge period. An insurance company is going to make you a series of promises, which are really good, and different insurance companies promise different things. We're going to touch on some of those in a minute, but to make those promises, to tell you that your investment can't lose money, the very worst that you're going to see as an investment return for a year is zero. I mean, the market goes down 5, 10, or 20%. Doesn't matter to you because the worst you're going to do is zero. But to make those kind of promises, the insurance company needs to make sure they hold on to your money. And how they do that is they have a surrender charge period, usually 10 years, could be longer, and it usually starts at around 10%. And so if you put the money in today, you put $100,000 in, say, today, and then next week you decide, oh, you know what, I'm going to buy, I'm going to take that money and go buy a house, or I'm going to take that money and help my kids through college, you're going to lose 10% of that money. So you're only going to get $90,000 back out of a $100,000 money you put in. And so guess what? You've lost money in an annuity. So what you need to understand is that can happen. And so that's why you don't want to put all of your money in one basket. You don't want to put all of your money in the annuity basket because things happen and you may need money, but you want to have other places to get the money from first. An annuity should be the last time to go take lump sums. If you use the annuity like it's supposed to be used, it's a great product. And so we need to know what the surrender charge period is, usually 10 years, and what the surrender charge is, and usually about 10%. Is an annuity a good investment? Okay. Well, it's like saying, is a hammer a good tool? Well, the answer is yeah, hammer's a great tool if you're trying to nail something. If you're trying to screw something, is a hammer a good tool? Well, the answer is no, because there's a better tool. It's called a screwdriver. Can you get a hammer to do something to a screw? You bet you can. It's messy. It won't work very well, but it'll get done. And that's kind of an annuity. An annuity is a tool that's used if it's used in the right place and used as a part of the portfolio, it can really create value in that portfolio, because you now have an asset that cannot go down, that you have to hold on to for 10 years, but that when you turn the income on, it'll last you a lifetime. But again, if you try to get money out of that thing before the 10-year period, it's going to lose money for you. So you just have to be careful. You don't want to put all your eggs in that basket. And then, yeah, used properly, an annuity is a good investment. Used improperly, it's a horrible investment. You're going to lose money. You're going to be frustrated, and you're going to be mad at the person who sold it to you. How does an annuity work? Wow, that's a very complicated question. If you know annuity contracts, they're really, really thick because there's a lot of legalese. But basically, an annuity is an insurance product that an insurance company puts out, and it's sold to most of us that are over 50, because now we don't want to lose the money that we have put in. We want to protect the money. We don't really want to make a 10 or 12 or 30% return. We just don't want to lose 10 or 15 or 20 or 30 or 40%. If you don't think that's possible, look back 2 months ago. Those folks that had annuities had nothing to worry about, because as the market was going down a lot, theirs did not. So they're going to protect you from losing money. But an insurance company's got to make money. And they do that in 2 ways. And we already talked about the surrender charge and how that is. And then the other thing is, they say, okay, not only are we going to make sure you don't lose money, but if we're going to give you 6 or 7 investments, or 3 or 4 investments, and you choose, and that investment, let's say that it's the S&P 500, if it makes 10%, you'll get half of that. So you'll get 50% of that. So most of us would be really happy with a 5% return if we knew we couldn't lose money the next year. That's the deal, right? That's how they work. Then if it's an income annuity and you're building this thing for income, you can also buy an income rider. And what that will do is it will say, and they cost money, you need to be aware, usually about 0.11 to 1.5%. My favorite, I think, costs about 1.25. But it says that if your investment makes money, say it makes 6% and you get 3, they also every year will guarantee that income side of the equation, what we call the income bucket, is going to go up by 8%, say 5% a year, or 6% or 4%. And so it goes up 4% no matter what, and then if the investment makes money, they stack it on top of that, and all of a sudden you're generating really good income streams. On that particular product, once you start taking the money out, let's say that you start taking $6,000 a year, $500 a month coming out of it, and it's going to be for the rest of your life and the rest of your spouse's life. If your investment does well, that can go up. So you can make $510 or $520 the next year. It could never go down. So once you get to 520, then it stays there. So it's a good inflation hedge. We like to place that in there because, again, it's a tool that's giving us some things that we can count on that'll help you reach your ultimate goal, which is to make sure you don't run out of money, to make sure that you and your wife have sufficient income that you can live a really cool retirement and not ever have to worry about living with your kids or making sure they take care of you. So this is where we're at. If you have any other kind of questions, please feel free to reach out to us. I would tell you that If there's a form attached, it's called a color of money. It will give us your risk tolerance. If you'll fill that out, you can do it on our website, or you can fill it out here and then send it to us. You can email it to us. We will look at that and then tell you if you're a good candidate for an annuity, and about how much you should be thinking about what your total portfolio, how much of that should be in an annuity. So hope that works for you. We look forward to talking to you, and hope this was helpful. Great afternoon, and God bless.